Hey, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good,
good. Tell me how
good.
to pronounce your name because I want to make sure I get it correct.
Yes, Daria, like not Daria, but Daria.
Daria. See, that's the
Yes.
mistake I was worried about making. I was
Yes.
gonna go Daria, but it's Daria.
Yes, yes. I get
Awesome.
Daria a lot, but I answer to both. But yeah. How are
Nah, I
you
gotta
doing?
gotta gotta call you what your mama call you.
Yes.
Daria. Daria. I'm doing pretty good. This day today went by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes days like that are good. Sometimes days like that are bad. Today there was a lot of stuff I needed to get done and I couldn't fit it all in. So be up a little
Yes.
late tonight trying to knock out some things.
That's good. I understand. I understand.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is actually my first time doing Instagram Live, so
Really?
yeah, I've never done this before, like at all. So
You know what? Before I started doing these interviews, I had never used that feature on Instagram either. So I
yeah, really.
can't even be mad at you.
Yes, but it's a cool feature, so I think it's pretty neat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Cool. Well,
Yep.
thank you for the people that we have on right now. Thank you,
Yes.
Daria, for agreeing to do this interview. Just before we dive in, I want to just explain to people what is Grind to Grad, who am I? So my name is Fred Johnson. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm a manager of college completion. So my job is to help high school students after they graduate to get to college by completing all of the enrollment steps that you need to finish after you get accepted. And then when they step foot on campus, do everything in my power to help them grow in their study skills, social skills, time management, just all the things that we know you need to master in order to graduate. So the reason why I started Grind to Grad is just I noticed there's a huge, not just a knowledge gap, but a skill gap
Hmm.
and what it takes to graduate college, but also just all the struggles that people of color have in terms of barriers to get to college. And then once
Yep.
you're on a college campus, just all the things that you're going to encounter to make it that much more difficult. I just wanted to do something to raise awareness, give tips, and, spread the word about stories of college graduates to just help motivate people of color to stay in school. So haven't quite figured
Absolutely.
out exactly how I want to do it, but I rather just take action on things, and
Yeah.
God will kind of show me how I need to do it at some point. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I
that's
love
what all
that. Yeah,
this
we need
is.
that. We definitely need that.
Mhm. And so, Daria, I guess if you could start with just kind of introducing yourself, where
Sure.
you're from, what school you went to, what you majored in, yeah, what
Yeah.
you're up to now.
So I graduated from LSU. For those watching, if you don't know where that is, it's Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I studied mechanical engineering with a
Mhm.
minor in chemistry. Um, yeah, and I live in Zachary, Louisiana. I guess I can talk about how I got into engineering, why
Mhm.
mechanical engineering.
Mhm.
Well, like growing up, like I always like tinkering with stuff and just whenever my parents would buy like the furniture and stuff from Walmart, like that you can put together or whatever,
Mhm.
I will be like the first person to like jump on that and like
Mhm.
assemble and build that type of stuff. So okay, I enjoy putting it together, but I kind of want to know a little bit more about the science behind it. Why is this designed this way? Why is this built this
Mhm.
way? Um, then I also ended up doing an engineering camp at Southern University, ESI, Engineering Summer Institute. I did that for 2 summers while in high school, and that kind of exposed me to different engineering disciplines. Um, and we kind of did like some ACT prep stuff, um, little small projects to kind of work in a
Mhm.
team setting and an environment and stuff like that. And we also did like company visits and stuff. And I really enjoyed like the camp and then the
Mhm.
environment, the whole working with the group of people aspect and sharing my ideas and getting input back from them, blah blah blah. I really enjoyed that. And then I also kind of had like a passion for cars for some odd reason.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of started with the mindset, okay, I want to design cars. Like that's why I want to be an engineer. I want to design cars, and
Mhm.
mechanical was like the most broad discipline of engineering. You can go into any field, um, and yeah, that's basically
Nice.
why I studied engineering.
Cool.
And then like I also like chemistry, and I found it out like later on
Mhm.
throughout my academic career. By the time I was like, I guess midway within my degree program, I decided to go back and take a few more extra chemistry classes, and get the chemistry minor. And yeah, I like chemistry too. So
Cool.
yeah.
What made you choose LSU?
For me, it was like, I guess it was the campus visit that won me over. It was honestly between Southern and LSU. And though I didn't have like any camp experience and stuff at LSU, like I just fell in love with like their welcomeness, how they welcomed me. I visited the College of Engineering. I liked that a lot. And then like the campus, I don't know if I'm sure you probably stepped on LSU's campus once, but at least once, but it's a beautiful campus. And
it is.
I just fell in love with it. And to me, how I guess a campus like presents itself, that's kind of a big deal to me too, but yeah, not saying anything's wrong with Southern, but that's just what won me over at LSU, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a PWI also. I went to the University of New Orleans.
Okay.
And I've interviewed a few graduates from HBCU, so I'm just curious, did you also visit Southern's campus? What were like some of the major differences between the two that stuck out to you?
Wait, what was the last part of your question?
I guess what were the major differences between Southern and LSU that I guess you kind of saw, not to shade Southern, but that made you lean more towards LSU?
So of course I've been on Southern's campus because I did the engineering camps. Did like a lot of walking and stuff. But I think from LSU I got more of a I just felt like I had a lot of, how can I say this? I don't want to shade Southern, so I'm trying to be careful with my answer.
I mean, keep it 100. Keep it 100.
Like if I needed help, I was able to get it, basically, and it was pretty. And even if someone couldn't help me, they were able to point me in the right direction, I guess I could say. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also curious.
I spent like 2 summers at Southern, and it was cool and all, but I was like, okay, I kind of want to see, what might be different, other type of campus. So.
Gotcha. Switch things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and someone commented, one of my friends, Veronica, hey, she said more opportunities. That's also another reason. So I can definitely see that now, especially. So, yeah.
When you say more opportunities, do you mean within the field of mechanical engineering, or just can you
just like
elaborate
when I
on
say
that?
opportunities, I guess more like LSU is heavy on research. So there was that opportunity. I've actually got involved in undergraduate research. So that was a plus. And well, I know that both schools have a career fair, so I can't really say that.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of resources and funding. I will say that.
Yeah.
So for that's another a great pathway to, get paid to be involved in a project and stuff like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm wondering, what was your experience as a Black person on a predominantly white campus? Like, was there some adjustment? Did you have these moments where I was like, damn, I'm the only Black person in this room? Or how did you navigate white spaces at LSU?
Yes. So everything was okay my freshman year. Freshman year, taking like all these basic classes. And I'm taking like calculus, physics, chemistry, and all that. And they are STEM majors, but as you kind of get further into your own coursework, you notice many of those STEM majors may have been like in biology or chemistry majors or physics majors. So I did see a plethora of people well, I don't want to say a lot of people, but more people early on in my academic career as opposed to when I got further down the road. Now, as I got into my higher level courses, yes, I was the only Black female multiple times. There, I have classmates, who recognize me, but I didn't know who they were. They may have not known my name, but they would know my face and say, hey, have you done this? Aren't you in this class? And I'm like, yeah, but who are you? I don't really know you. But yeah, I've definitely seen that, but I try not to stay to myself. I try to still, kind of even if it made me feel a little uncomfortable, I still, you know, tried to speak with people and get involved in doing homework with other people and comparing answers and stuff like that. I'm studying together at times. I didn't try to isolate myself. I tried to, you know, just even if it made me uncomfortable. Now, there have been times when people were not, I guess, receptive to me, and that was fine. I wasn't trying to be anyone's friend, but if I've noticed like I didn't really get like a positive vibe from that person, then I just kind of, you know, took a step back with trying to do homework or asking for help, stuff like that. But yeah, I just try not to isolate myself, even if I wasn't the only person of color, let alone the only Black female. You know, every now and then there would be like a couple of Black males, but as far as Black female, I was the only one for the longest. Yeah.
Wow. One thing you said, which was like making sure like you got outside of your comfort zone, got to know new people, like form these study groups, I noticed is a skill. It doesn't seem like it, but that a lot of my students, when they first step on campus, just being able to introduce themselves to somebody in class, ask them about homework is something that they're nervous to do, afraid to do. They have a lot of anxiety around. So were you always a person that was willing to take that risk, even though it might not seem risky? Or like, was that a natural part of your personality, or is that something you had to kind of grow into?
I was never really, I guess, a shy person. But I was also not as outgoing or whatever you want to call it as I am now. I kind of grew more into it. That's what I'll say. Yes, it's hard, and I think people try not to do that because they're afraid of rejection and stuff like that. But I mean, hey, everyone is not going to want to, you know, try to hang with you or do things with you and stuff, and that's fine. I've had to learn to accept that. It is what it is. So,
yeah, I've seen some of my students interact or have moments like that, and they kind of internalize that as something is wrong with me, when it's like, no, that you just keep it moving. That's all. It's just a bad experience. Just keep it moving. Yeah. I'm also interested with mechanical engineering being like a male-dominated field, like how your interaction with just being the only female, like you said, Black female, but being in the classroom where you probably didn't see many females at that. No, so
mechanical did not have that many females. No, most of the females were, I guess, in chemical and biological. There may be a few other majors too, but mechanical was one of the few disciplines that did not have that many females. But I don't know. I just try to still. I guess, you know, every now and then when I did see a female, I try to connect with them. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're both females or both girls. We can, you know, kind of we have a common point. But I mean, I just still use that whole mindset with don't isolate yourself, you know, even if they are, you know, males or whatever. Just, you know, it is what it is, you know. Yeah, I just had to make a way.
Yeah. When you were younger, were you ever discouraged from pursuing a field in mechanical engineering or engineering in general? Because I know sometimes with young girls, it's like, I want to be a scientist, or I want to do X, or I want to do Y. Sometimes from either a teacher or sometimes even parents can be discouraged because that's not, you know, that's not the type of career a female should pursue. So did you ever encounter that? And if so, how did you handle that?
I actually did not. And I honestly did not really discover, I guess, engineering until like maybe my early stages of high school, maybe late middle school years. At first, I wanted to be a teacher because my grandma, she was an educator. She was a teacher. I used to always go with her in her classrooms and stuff and see how she taught kids and stuff, and I loved it. And then there was one point in time when I wanted to be a meteorologist, and I actually did live in New Orleans pre-Katrina era. And you know, New Orleans is known for getting hurricanes, so I was standing in front of the TV and trying to predict where the hurricane would land, you know. So that was also like another career option. But I guess I kind of had confirmation on engineering once I did the summer camp at Southern University. And I told my parents, and they didn't discourage me at all, and I never received any negative feedback or anything, or, you know, don't pursue this type attitude from any of my family members or friends. Never got that.
Oh, that's good. So you had a really good support system. Of
Yeah.
course, your parents
Yeah.
kind of saw it in you and made sure that you were in different activities
Yeah.
to kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you continue to develop in that.
Right. Right. But I know that is a, that type of thing does happen, it's unfortunate, but.
What advice would you give to like young women in high school or even in college that are kind of in that same situation where either they're the only black female or only female, or they're pursuing a career where it's kind of like against the norm for a female to want to advance in that degree? What would be your advice to them?
Honey, or whatever, if it's what you want to do, you have to go forth with it, like regardless of what people say. No, it's not easy, well, I can speak on engineering, but I'm sure in every discipline has their hard areas. Engineering was not easy for me, really, a lot of people, but I stuck it through because I looked at the end goal. I knew what I had an idea of what I wanted to do after I graduated, and I kind of kept that light there. I had to think, okay, there's light in the tunnel. My mom kept saying the same thing. And you also have to surround yourself with a good support system and people who you have to find people who look like you. I will say that, because they will go through similar struggles that you're probably going to encounter, and you can learn from them on how to deal with it. So I will say that too. Like for me, I'm part of a student organization called NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. I'm sure you may have heard of that. I've connected with so many people, so many females, so many black females, and we, talk about our struggles and stuff, and talking about it helps a lot. I will say that, you get great advice. You learn, how to handle situations that you may be in. Yeah, but I also had to keep in mind, okay, I can stop right here and give up, but what will I do next? Giving up that was not an option for me. Even at times I felt like it, I did not. So I just kind of kept the whole goal, my end goal in mind, and I still pushed through it, but I also surrounded myself with people who, look like me, and people who I can open up to and share my experiences with, and, get feedback from them and vice versa. So,
yeah.
And also find a mentor. Find a mentor. That's a very important. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit more. Like you said, the struggle. I think every college student, you have this point to where either you considering like, why am I here? You consider giving up, dropping out, or you just reach a low point where like you have that come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
But it also kind of defines and helps shape your identity as a college student and college graduate. So for you, what was that experience or experiences, and how did you work your way through that?
Okay. So I'm a pretty transparent person, especially knowing like where I am now and like what all I've been like through in college. So I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of basically a quick rundown of my 7-year experience in engineering.
I graduated in 7 years too. So
look,
I wasn't an engineering. So yeah.
Started out freshman year, lived on campus. Everything was fine, passed all my classes. Sophomore year, I'm getting a little more into my engineering coursework, some basic stuff, not anything too crazy. And I actually did have to repeat one of my classes, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to retake a class. Really? Me, out of all people? Not Miss, I graduated high school with a 4.14 GPA. Like, not me. I just thought that would never happen to me. Well, yes, I had to retake a class. Well, looking back at it now, I don't know why I was complaining about that, because things honestly went kind of downhill from there for the most part. Went into my third year, passing classes with D's, barely passing. Some classes you're able to pass with the D's. Some classes are C or better. So I had to retake those that were C or better. Fourth year, and I'm like, man, like I'm just really like struggling here. Now for me, it had a lot to do with, so after my first 2 years, I moved back home to save money. I live in Zachary, which is not that far from campus, about 20 or 25 minutes. But I was also working. And I was working up to 3 jobs at one point in time. And the time when I had 3 jobs, which was my 5th year, toward in the fall 2015. I was in my fourth year. It might be my fourth year. Whichever. So may not get them confused. So anyway, I had gotten 3 Fs and a D for the semester. Yes. I was like, are you serious? Like, I had kind of like, I hit a low point, you know, trying to do work study, trying to put in hours in a research program, also working my side job that I have in my hometown where I went to high school. Like, it was just a lot going on, and I was unable to focus. And then the courses that I was taking, they were hard. Fluids, system dynamics, I don't know, it's controls. It was just a lot. Machine design, you know. So I think I had like a 0.7 GPA or something for that semester. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do, you know? But I actually still, my GPA was still good enough where I was not on academic probation or anything. I'm laughing at my friends. They're talking about fluids and stuff. But anyway, the following semester, you know, I did quote better. I think I got like a basically I think maybe 1 B, a few C's and a D, you know, so I was like, I'll take it. However, one thing I struggled with, because my GPA was pretty low, is getting an internship. So they really stressed getting an internship in engineering. And I could not get one because internships are very competitive, and most of them require you to have a 3.0 or higher. Well, I did not have that. So whenever I went to career fairs, both at LSU and at NSBE, I got turned away. You know, I did luck up with a couple of interviews once, but it didn't really get me far. So I'm actually going to talk about the importance of networking. I'm just kind of jumping all over the place, but I'm just giving you a synopsis of my experience. I was in a research program that I got invited to join. I think a year prior to that, whole experience with the failing classes and everything. And I connected with my research program director. And I was like, I really need an internship. I need help. Can you please help me? What do I, you know, I need something. You know, do you know any people, blah, blah, blah. And I also told her that I loved chemistry and I wanted to do something with chemistry. And my internship I was looking for, I kind of wanted it to be in the automotive industry. Well, my research program director reached out to someone who works for a company in Detroit, and kind of made a connection. And the lady told me she's actually my mentor. My mentor told me to apply online. So best believe I hopped on it. I applied online and everything. I did my part. I did what I needed to do. So long story short with that, I applied online. The company interviewed me, but then my mentor actually ended up finding out that, because she was not involved in the first interview process, she actually found out that I interviewed with them, and then I interviewed with her, and then I got hired on as an intern at my lowest point of my academic career.
Wow.
So to me, that was kind of like, okay, this is like a great bounce back moment. This is great. This is motivation. I have this internship now. See, it doesn't matter the circumstances. You can still, you know, you can make it through. Like, you just kind of you might have to travel through some loopholes. You know, there's no straight way to getting from point A to point B. So I was able to get that internship. I did great. Got invited back for another internship the following summer. Actually went to Italy and interned there for a week with the company. Yes. Keep this in mind. I did not have, my GPA was not all that. I'm saying this to people because even, you know, before I got my internship, I thought there was no hope. And no internship, no full-time job right away, 99% of the time. It's hard to get a full-time job if you have no experience, because it's competitive out there. Well, anyway, so I come back from, it's the end of my summer internship is approaching. This was in 2017. And I'm thinking I'm about to graduate in class of 2018. I'm like excited. I'm hanging with coworkers and stuff. We're out, you know, chatting and celebrating me about to graduate, you know, in May 2018. I kid you not. I get an email from my academic advisor, and they tell me you cannot enroll in senior design. And I was like, I'm getting this email like right now out of all moments. And it was actually a week before school started at that. So yeah, I could not get into senior design because they kind of changed the whole, I guess, requirements. They changed the requirements, but I thought I was, I guess, grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But that was not the case. So I got bumped back another year. Thinking I'm
For
about to
one
graduate,
class.
I'm on top of the world. I had these 2 internships, and I'm like, yeah, everything's going great. And then I get this email, and I'm like, wow. And it was because my degree GPA was not high enough. So, yeah, you have to have a certain GPA to enroll in the senior design curriculum at LSU, for mechanical engineering at least. So I'm like, man, like, what do I do? So, you know, my advisor, he, you know, felt bad and everything, but there was nothing he could do about it. I didn't appeal. It was such an exhausting process. I would cry at night, you know, but I'm just like, you know, I kind of, for me, you know, prayer works for me. So I kind of had to say a prayer, and I said, you know, if this is the way it's meant to be, then I'll, you know, I'll accept it and just kind of see some positive in it. Well, he told me just take some technical electives to get your mechanical engineering GPA up. And that's what I did. I took some electives that I actually loved and enjoyed. And I ended up getting a 3.5 that fall semester after that whole situation. And then the following semester, last spring, I did just as well. So, and this is crazy. I was actually, you know, kind of concerned that both of my internships were with the same company. You know, some companies like to look at a little, you know, diversity, not diversity, but, you know, just something different, that you're not stuck in one company, that whole thing. Well, I had gotten an interview with Mercedes-Benz Vans in Charleston, and I got an internship with them. And I'm like, well, that's why the extra summer was there. So that worked out. I got more experience, and then I got experience with another company. So the first time I had my internships, they were with a supplier, and this time I got to see things from a different point of view. So that was pretty neat. So one of my friends said, "You couldn't be stopped." That's exactly right. Yes, I like to describe myself as resilient, because like, even like, despite those situations, I still bounce back. And I, you know, I just, I could talk about it all day. But anyway, so I went through that internship. I did great. And then I finally got in senior design. That was, you know, hard. It was hard. It was stressful. You know, we all work on a project and everything. But there were even times like this past semester, I'm like, man, is our project going to be finished? Are we going to have something to present and talk on? But we made it through like a few days before it was time to present, and we did it, you know. But yeah, that's I guess a brief synopsis of my experience. But I'm grateful for it, even though it, you know, was hard, and at the time I did not understand things, but now I do, you know.
Yeah. You had a lot of low points. You had a lot of struggle, a lot of failure throughout that story. What I see a lot of my students who drop out or just continue to run into wall after wall after wall is that they obviously get discouraged, but there's like this either negative self-talk, they stop believing, they stop forgetting like what their goals are, or they just kind of, they don't keep that push and keep that fight. So what did you have to tap into? What did you tell yourself? Like, what did you do? What was like the mental process to keep you going?
Yes. And I'm not gonna lie, I had moments like that. I'm like, man, like I would cry myself to sleep sometimes. I'm like, am I really, like, moments of doubt? Am I cut out for this? Is this for me? But I'm gonna emphasize this again. Surrounding yourself by positive people really helps, and having a great, you know, friend circle or a mentor, or advisors and stuff like that, family members, like in your weakest moments, like they can really see something in you that you don't see in yourself at times. They can really, you know, bring that to surface. And for me, that's what helped a lot. Like my friends could tell sometimes when I was stressed and stuff, and I'd kind of open up saying, I'm dealing with this and this, and they just kind of give me that encouragement. Hey, you can do this. It's hard, but you can do this. Don't try to hold it in, because I tried to do that, and when someone asked me what was wrong, because you can kind of sense that something was wrong, I just broke down and cried. I couldn't help it. But that was what did it for me. And then Nesby also was very instrumental in that too. Their whole, what's the word? Motto, I guess, whatever you want to call it, like, is lifting us up. Part of their motto is like lifting us up when you're down. It's a part of it. You have to be there for your brother or sister. You really do. So yeah, I think that's what really did it for me. And what I will say is, even if you're not an engineering major and you're watching this or whatever, find an organization that works for you. If you're a person of color, there are lots of Black organizations in your particular field. I think there's like one for Black business students, or there's like a pre-med society or something like that. Like, find whatever works for you. And, for women in general, they also have like women organizations and societies. There's Society of Women Engineers. There's SWE. There, of course, are other organizations that I'm not aware of, but that works too. You need that,
Yeah, that sense of community, and not just a sense, but like an actual community, and having that support system is huge. And that's definitely something I'm always pushing my students to do, both social and professional organizations to find.
For sure. Right. And also, like, in terms of like developing leadership skills and stuff, once maybe your freshman year, you can kind of go check out and see what the organization is about. But by that sophomore, junior year, try to get on the executive board, take leadership positions. I'm telling you, it would improve your communication skills, especially if that's a weak point for you. You don't have to try to run for president or something. You can start off, with something that's not as intense. Any type of thing like that would definitely help. And you get to meet people that way, and you get to even connect more with people who are on your executive board and members in general. I highly recommend getting involved with an organization and getting involved with their executive board.
I want to switch gears just a little bit.
Sure.
As we both know, college teaches you so much more outside the classroom than inside the classroom. We just finished talking a little bit about leadership. How did college help you to mature as a woman? Or just really in any aspect?
In any aspect, well, I had to learn how to, I guess, budget. College, well, for me, I still kind of worked, and of course, it got a little intense at one point in time. But I learned how to try not to, go blow my money on unnecessary stuff. Because with me commuting, there were times when I had to, something happened to my gas tank cover on my car. I had to pay for that to get fixed because I couldn't get gas. And if I didn't save my money, I wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, I guess my parents could have helped, but I try not to depend on that. But that might not be the case for some people. You may only have to, support yourself, or you can only support yourself. And, you need to make sure you save, as much as you can. If you're transitioning from high school to college, if you're working during the summer, work as much as you can. I know some people say, try to enjoy your freedom, try to do that too. But I would also recommend working as much as you can, but that's just me. I'm a workaholic. But I would try to save your money, because you never know when you're going to be in a time of need. And so definitely help me financially, kind of be a little more financially literate and stuff like that. Time management is very, very, very important. And unfortunately for me, I learned that much later on in my academic career. I would kind of not prioritize. I mean, I had to work, but I also had to keep in mind that I'm in school. So I kind of had to find that balance. That was pretty tough for me, but I kept a planner and made sure I kept sight of what's important.
Yeah.
Like if I had a test or something, I knew that, like if I had a test the following week, so I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I want to go to the game on Saturday, that means on Friday, I can't be out in the streets, you know, shopping or, you know, hanging out with friends and stuff. Like I had to find that balance, you know. Or if I was working, it's like, you know, I had to choose one or the other. Yes, it is hard having a social life as an engineering major, but I know other majors, of course, it's still hard too. But yeah, engineering, I can speak on that for sure. Yeah, it taught me time management, but for that, I kept a planner to kind of make sure I had a great visual, which is something I also recommend to those. Really, at any point in your life, buy a yearly planner and write down things that are important, deadlines, even birthdays, of course, you know, stuff like that, whatever's important to you. But it's great to have a visual. And for me, you know, some people use their phones, but I like to have a paper planner with me. Work schedule, stuff like that. That's also a great tool. Time management, financial literacy. What else? Of course, like just developing those soft skills. I think leadership positions are a great way to develop soft skills. That's about it, I guess, that I can think of at the moment.
Yeah. What would you say is like either your most fun or most memorable experience in college? Something you'll never forget.
Let's see. Most memorable. Senior design was very memorable. I'm actually trying to forget it. that's how stressful it was. But I had a pretty cool project. Working with my team members was pretty cool. We had to use a 3D printer to make our project. I'm not sure if you're familiar with 3D printing, but yes, but we actually had to use a metal 3D printer to create our. We made a chemical microreactor that's designed to be used to synthesize a chemical that's used in Prozac, and it was 3D printed. But so like getting familiar with the whole 3D printing process, which I had no experience with prior to senior design, was pretty cool. Fighting with the machine and stuff, yeah, those were some crazy memories because the machine would give us, you know, some trouble. But yeah, that was the whole year was very memorable because of the issues we ran into, but we made it through. Also, NSBE conferences. We traveled to different cities. We have the regional conference, which is usually somewhere within a region. And then we have the national conference, which is typically far away, but it's not going to be that far away this coming year. But, you know, hanging out with and meeting engineers and stuff from different schools, even within my own chapter, getting to know them on a more personal level was cool. We weren't just all work. You know, we were a little play too. You know, we had fun in the evenings, you know, hanging out, going out, stuff like that. I enjoyed those moments so much because I connected with people that I didn't really think I would connect with, honestly, like outside the organization. But, you know, going on those conferences really played a role in making us closer and bond and stuff like that. But, yeah, also homecoming is pretty fun, too. Yeah, when we have the huge tailgate, the NPHC has their tailgate with a few other Black organizations. Those tailgates are always fun. Those are definitely some memorable moments.
Yeah, I pledged in college, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it's fun, you know, just being surrounded with, you know, by, you know, so much positivity and so much Black excellence, you know. Yeah. Oh, I love to use that phrase. Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Sure.
I have a lot of students who are like, you know, going to be freshmen in the fall. There's going to be a lot of students going into their sophomore year. What would be some advice that you have for them? They have a couple of months to kind of get their mind right. You might have students who have finished their first year of college, going into their second year, and their GPA is not looking too hot. You might have students that have graduated high school that even though they got accepted, still are going to struggle a lot, are just really nervous about how they're going to do. What would be your advice to them about what they can do or what they need to focus on over the next 2 months to make that transition or make their second year of school much easier and hit the goals that they have for themselves?
Okay. So if you're going into your freshman year, from high school to your freshman year of college, um, um, that's a little hard to speak on. I'm gonna come back to that part.
Yeah, you come
For
back.
the sophomores, who you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
who have like not so great GPAs, or they're just kind of having a hard time with coursework and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, I highly recommend, and I did do this at times. Go introduce yourself to the professor of the class,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not struggling with it. Just go meet them. You can tell them, if you want, how you feel about the class, especially if you're interested. Say, hey, um, I really love this subject. I'm looking forward to, learning more, blah, blah, blah. Or, you could talk about how it's going to be instrumental in your future, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, when it's time for help, it'll be easier to go to them because you've already kind of established some sort of relationship. Don't wait until it's like too late to try to ask for help, because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of too late.
Mm-hmm.
And don't wait until test time to try to ask for help too. I recommend going as you're doing the homeworks, or after a concept is reviewed in class, you're kind of struggling with it. Go to them then, so I
Mm-hmm.
recommend that. But if you're a sophomore, and you're just having a hard time, you still have a lot of time. You definitely have a
Yep.
lot of time to get things, uphill. But definitely going to be with your professors. And I saw someone say study groups. That's very important too.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you don't know anybody, whoever you're sitting next to in class, say, hi, I'm so-and-so. Would you like to perhaps, meet whenever to maybe go over this, or you want to study together, or you can ask them maybe how they feel about this
Mm-hmm.
topic or whatever. That's always a conversation starter too. Um, yeah, that's what I can give to sophomores. Now, the freshmen going from high school to college, all I can say is, if you got through high school easily, quote,
Mm-hmm.
without studying much, because that's what got me in
Mm-hmm.
trouble. That's what got me in trouble. I'm telling you. I mean, freshman year was actually fine. But it was after that, like, I still kind of had those old study habits from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and they were not good study habits.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend trying to change your mindset of studying. Maybe go on YouTube, or finding videos that teach you how to study. There are a few methods out there that teach you how to
Mm-hmm.
study, because you're going to have to be able to retain information like on a different level now that you're in college. Like, some classes, depending on what it is, it might be memorization, but especially if you're an engineering major or a STEM major, you have to kind of break down that information and learn how to
Mm-hmm.
apply it in other situations. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't do that, you're not going to do well. So I recommend, trying to learn some study habits, see how you study, maybe see what type of learner you are. Um, and yeah, also for freshmen, at
Mm-hmm.
least at LSU, there's a class Facebook page typically that's created for incoming freshmen. So if you're an
Mm-hmm.
incoming freshman this fall, I guess the graduating class will be class of 2023. Go
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook and Google LSU class of 2023 or something like that. You can
Mm-hmm.
find a class page for people who are going to be entering college when you are, and you're probably going to stay with that cohort.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to post questions about the professors, textbooks. Does anyone know anything about this class? Who to take, stuff like that. That was
Mm-hmm.
very resourceful for me. I learned who to take, who not to take. If I wanted to buy a book that was cheaper than what the bookstore was selling, that was also very helpful. I got a lot of, I saved a lot of money doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And something else I was going to say, but I forgot my train of thought. Sometimes people who are, I guess, a little older will get into those
Mm-hmm.
Facebook pages too, like maybe not as old as me, but maybe 2 years older or ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And they can also possibly help you with finding some study material for the exams. That's another big thing. That's why it's good to come out your comfort zone and try to meet people, because sometimes people have old exams. And I kid you not, some professors do not change those questions. Like, if you're by yourself, you wouldn't know that, So yeah, that's the advice I would give.
Thank you, Daria. I really appreciate your
Oh, and so, I'm sorry to
vulnerability.
cut you off, but someone else did say find a mentor in your major. That's also
Mm,
very important within your major.
mm,
You know, I've actually had
mm,
multiple mentors, but finding one in your major is extremely important. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, that having that professional mentor with that practical experience is
Mhm.
important. It is good to have a mentor to somebody that you could go to, but in terms of having somebody, like you say, in that field and a
Yeah.
professional,
Yeah.
it goes even further. So I
Yep.
definitely agree with you.
Yep.
Um,
And for freshmen and
mhm,
sophomores, it's never too late to, or never too early, I'm sorry, to go to career fairs and stuff. Go as a freshman, even if your resume has high school information on it, like, oh, I was part of the beta club, I was on the activities board, this, that, and the other.
mhm,
This, you know, if it just has high school stuff on it, even if you know, have a part-time job, you know, at a fast food place or in a retail store, all that stuff is, you know, those are soft skills, you know. So if you have that on your resume, you got to start somewhere. You've got to get your first internship or job experience some kind of way. That's fine. You know, go put yourself out there. Go, you know, meet these recruiters and stuff. Say, hi, my name is so and so. I'm here because I'm very interested in working for your company. That my experience is in this, this, and this. And do you have any positions that I could possibly fit into? Are you interviewing? Stuff like that. Because sometimes freshmen and sometimes sophomores are discouraged in a
mhm,
way from not taking not going to those types of things because they think they're too young or they don't have
mhm.
experience. But the purpose of going to a career fair is to get experience. You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
That was awesome
I can
advice.
ramble all day, so I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No need to apologize. You were dropping nuggets.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it. To answer somebody's question, Queen of Hustling, yes, I'm going to save it. I'm still figuring out all the functions of Instagram, so I'm gonna try to post it to Instagram TV. I'm gonna definitely put it on YouTube, so just kind of follow the account, and it should be up in a few days.
Okay.
But Daria, I just want to thank you for taking time out, sharing your
Sure.
experiences. And of course, I'm praying for your success. I know you're going to
Thank
be
you.
successful. We're going to speak it into existence. And if you don't mind, maybe in a couple of months, we'll do like a little quick check-in to kind of see how life after graduation is going.
Oh, yes. I'll be excited to share, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
All
for
right.
having me. I appreciated this and appreciate the
Mhm.
opportunity. And I'm glad I'm able to share what I've gone through and some advice and stuff to, you know, younger
Mhm.
people and help, you know, let them, you know, do well and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
No problem. Well, you
yes.
have a good evening. Thank you, everybody,
Thanks.
for tuning in. I'll talk
Thanks.
to you
Yes.
soon.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning
All
in.
right.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks for the interview. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.